दिस इज जलाल राडा, नाम तो सुना होगा। आप भी आप मुझे देखेंगे भी, यस, आप भी आप मुझे देखेंगे भी। वॉच फॉर माई न्यू शो, इट विल बी लॉट्स ऑफ एंटरटेनमेंट, सरप्राइजेस, हल्ला गुल्ला होगा। इट कॉल्स गपशप विद जलाल, यस, गपशप विद मी, only on Punjabi National TV. See you all there.
Today I have like 4 friends of mine that are going to be here for the big reveal, and honestly I can't wait to show the entire world.
दुख मेरा तू, सुख मेरा तू, जिस्म खाली हूँ मैं, तू है मेरी रूह। तेरे बिना खाली खाली मेरे नैना, तेरे बिना ढूंढ भला कैसे चैना। मेरा ढोला, मेरा ढोला, मेरा ढोला, ढोला, मेरा ढोला, मेरा ढोला, मेरा ढोला, ढोला। तू ही मुझे ख्वाब दे, तू ही मुझे नींद दे, तू ही मुझे दे सकूं, फिर उसे छीन ले मैं क्या करूं। तू ही मुझे ख्वाब दे, तू ही मुझे नींद दे, तू ही मुझे दे सकूं, फिर उसे छीन ले मैं क्या करूं। आहें भरूं मैं क्या करूं, आहें भरूं तेरे बिना खाली खाली मेरे नैना, तेरे बिना ढूंढूं भला कैसे चैना। मेरे ढोला, मेरे ढोला, मेरा ढोला, ढोला, मेरा ढोला, मेरा ढोला, मेरा ढोला, ढोला। दुख मेरा तू, सुख मेरा तू, तू ही हाँ है मेरी, तू ही मेरा क्यों। हौले से हवा लगती है, हौले हौले से हवा लगती है, हौले हौले से दुआ लगती है ना। हौले हौले चमका बढ़ता है, हौले हौले घूंघट उठता है, हौले हौले से नशा चढ़ता है ना। तू सफर तो कर मेरे यार, जरा सांस तो ले दिलदार, चलो फिक्र न मारी मारी यार, हौले हौले हो जाएगा प्यार, चले हौले हौले हो जाएगा प्यार, हौले हौले हो जाएगा प्यार, चले हौले हौले हो जाएगा प्यार, हौले 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 हो जाएगा प्यार, चले हौले हौले हो जाएगा प्यार। People sitting at the back, put your hands up. Hare re ga ma ma ga re, hare re ga ma ma ga re, hare ga ma ga ma ga re, pa da pa da ma re ga ga. इश्क़ की कलियां तंग है, शर्मो शर्मीले बंद है, खुद से खुद की कैसी ये जंग है। कभी ये दिल घबराए, कभी ये दिल शर्माए, कुछ कहता है और कुछ कर जाए, कैसी ये पगली वो दिल मर जाना, इश्क़ में चलती बड़ा जुर्माना। सफर तो कर मेरी यार, जरा सांस तो ले दिलदार, चल फिक्र न मारी मारी यार है मुझे दिल के चार। हौले हौले हो जाएगा प्यार, चले हौले हौले हो जाएगा प्यार, हौले हौले हो जाएगा प्यार, चले हौले हौले हो जाएगा प्यार। हौले 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 हो जाएगा प्यार, चले हौले हौले हो जाएगा प्यार। Thank you so much.
This feeling, I can't explain it. This feeling, I can't explain it.
तेरे दिल के शहर में घर मेरा हो गया, हो गया। सपना देखा जो तुमने वो मेरा हो गया, हो गया। डूबे तो यूं जैसे हो पार, होना था प्यार, हुआ मेरे यार, होना था प्यार, हुआ मेरे यार। आए नजर चेहरे हजार, होना था प्यार। हमें दिलों की बाहें हम आते सालों में, सालों में पाए जवाब हमने तेरे सवालों में, सवालों में। ख्वाबों की डोर टूटे ना, होना था प्यार, था प्यार हुआ मेरे यार आए नजर चेहरे हजार होना था प्यार
This feeling, I can't explain it. Wanna be with you forever. This feeling, I can't explain it. Wanna be with you forever.
यार सत श्री अकाल आदाब अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैं आपका होस्ट जलाल आपकी खिदमत में हाजिर आप सब देख रहे हैं सलाम नमस्ते कैलगरी on radio system in Calgary or if you are watching on Facebook and YouTube guys so thank you so much for joining us for today's edition of Salaam Namaste Calgary and yeah it's a Tuesday so we are back on Tuesday as normal it's about 6:33 in Calgary time and if you're in the eastern zone so it's about 8:33 and of course if you're on the central zone so it's like 7:33 so welcome guys for our Salaam Namaste Calgary show. And yeah, just want to thanks before we start, thanks for all your support for the future superstar, except the technical glitch part, but I think the rest of them, it's really good. And we were very blessed to have you guys on and people are still commenting and still sending messages. So this is great. And we wish all the future superstar participants like all the best to the future, and you never know. Yeah, they might be back again. As we'll be back, inshallah, as we announced that day in June 2021. So it's about 4 months to left. Like very soon, we're going to start our new process with the new participants. So here we go. So thanks again for everything you guys did, watching, sharing, commenting. So we are really, really appreciated. So let me get to my co-host Salma Jadavji. She's waiting backstage, and we'll get our show get it going here. हेलो सलमा जी यानी
मदद कैसे हो जलाल क्या हाल है
तो जी आप कैसी हैं
rested little bit after all the chaos went for the superstars
या 3 महीने की जद्दोजहद के बाद it'll take a little time
I want to say सब लोगों को सलाम नमस्ते आदाब सत श्री अकाल अस्सलाम वालेकुम कैसे हैं आप लोग और सबसे पहले हम शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहेंगे हमारे सब चाहने वालों को जिन्होंने हमारे फ्यूचर सुपरस्टार्स को देखा और सराहा और उम्मीद है कि हम इसी तरह आप लोगों की सपोर्ट हमेशा से चाहेंगे और इंशाल्लाह व्हाटएवर द फीडबैक आप हमें देना चाहें तो बहुत अच्छा रहता है इससे बहुत अच्छी खूबियां होती हैं हमारे शोज में तो इंशाल्लाह जैसा कि जलाल ने कहा कि जून में हमारा दूसरा शो होगा तो all the best to the superstars and so many messages are coming Yali Madad so happy to see all of you and we have a good program going today also so let's start
so first we're going to have like Aziz Velji he's an author he does give kind of speeches to the seminars as well he's going to join us like in the next minute then inshallah 7:05 we're going to have a flame talk with our good friend Kelly Kirch from Sports 960 the Fan so we'll talk about Flames we'll talk about NHL hockey let's see and I know Flames are in a bad position these days so it's going to be fun to talk so let me get to our good friend or guest Aziz Velji from I believe he's in Toronto let me fire hello Aziz bhai how are you
good yeah good to see you guys
Thank you so much for being on our show and I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a really informative and lots of people will get something out of it. So thank you for being with us. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Where are you? Are you are you in Toronto?
I'm in Markham.
You're Markham, Ontario.
Markham,
okay,
Ontario, yes.
All right. Okay, so he's from Markham. So Aziz bhai, thank you so much again. I I just said a couple of things about you. Like you are an author and you does
seminars as well. So let's start with your intro a little bit, then we get to our topic. How's this sound?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So
Yeah, go for it.
Go
yeah,
for it.
tell us
So
something
yeah.
about it. Yeah.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a PowerPoint, okay?
Okay, sure. Okay, thanks for everyone who joined us. Leila Lassi from Pakistan, Tasumar, Narm Jamal, hello Narm, Sonia, hello Sonia, Zinat Molo, hello Zinat, thank you so much. And then we have Farouk from Vancouver, thank you so much, Farouk Tajani, Tasumar, and a bunch of other people as well. Then,
What happened?
yes, it's here. Hold on, here we go.
Okay, there
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. Yeah.
It's very faint. I'm trying to see what else can be done.
Maybe you can make it bigger.
It's clear, but it's smaller.
Yeah.
It's much smaller.
Yeah.
Oh, there you better?
The font is still small, but
Yeah.
it's not
Like-
bad.
Once you talk, people will understand,
Yeah.
So what I wanted to talk about today is
Yeah.
about one of the major problems that a lot of people have is with loneliness.
Yeah.
And I wanted to take you through and show you what exactly loneliness is and how it comes about. So I'm just going to move the slide. So I may miss you guys.
Yeah.
Not sure how to do that. Is there a better way of doing this?
Yeah, this is the only way.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, increase it a bit more. Okay, it's the first time I'm on StreamYard, so
Okay.
just excuse me
I
if
think
I
that's better.
make
Yeah.
any mistakes. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I thought we would do is this is why isn't it moving? Oh, my PowerPoint is not moving. Let's see.
Or maybe we can just start talking, then we can get it going again.
Yeah, because it's the PowerPoint doesn't seem to be working.
Okay, where we go.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. It's
No worries.
okay. So let me just go through this thing.
I think so.
So what I wanted to talk about is and just excuse me, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Is what is the cause of loneliness?
Mm-hmm.
What does loneliness really feel like?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, it was me. I just put it behind. You want me to put it on?
Yeah, and that's okay. I've got some notes that I can use. No
Okay.
worries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go back to what you wanted. Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's good.
it's better.
Yeah.
What does loneliness really feel like?
Mm-hmm.
What do we do to mitigate the effect of loneliness?
Right.
And some facts about loneliness, and then I'll talk about what is the actual cause of loneliness
Okay.
and what is the solution.
Okay.
Okay, so what are the things that what do we think of the cause of loneliness?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things is that we feel that our need for social contact and relationship is not met.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we and the reason for that may be because either we're living alone, not having family and friends. Sometimes even if you're living in downtown with the condos, there's not enough places for us to meet other people. And now with the COVID, there's isolation, there's quarantines, there's restrictions, so we're not able to go and meet people either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what we think, and that's how we feel about loneliness. So what is loneliness actually? How does it feel? So loneliness is that feeling of emptiness, of that longing in us. There's some kind of an underlying anxiety, some kind of a tension or an ache that we experience, as if something is missing in our lives. And this can also happen when you are with a lot of friends, a lot of people around you, but you still get this feeling. Okay, so what do we do? Because we think that loneliness is because we are in need of company, of other people's company, or we want to do something about it. So there are a number of ways that there are a number of solutions. There is a solution that we implement. The first solution is we try and keep ourselves busy, because to try and overcome this feeling of that uncomfortable feeling that we have. So the more busy we are, the less we feel, and that's how we keep doing it. Or we feel that there is a big gap in our lives, that something is missing, and so we try and fill that gap with things or with company of people, but still that feeling of loneliness doesn't go.
So
Then
can I ask you one question here?
Sorry?
Can I ask you one question here?
Sure.
Yeah. So is there a difference between loneliness or being alone?
Yeah. So the being alone is that you are comfortable being on your own.
Okay.
The thing with loneliness is that it is we don't like to be on our own.
Okay.
Okay, and that's and because of that we want company, we want to do something, we want to keep busy.
So
Okay?
are the alone people are happier than the people who find loneliness is bothering them? So like, see, I hear from people that, oh, I'm happy being alone.
Yes.
And then there's loneliness, that people are not happy, especially because of COVID these days. So just for our viewers, can you just say a little bit on it?
Yes. So people who are comfortable being on their own have connected with themselves. So basically, loneliness, the way I look at it, is not the failure to connect with others. It's a failure to connect with ourselves. Okay. So people who like solitude, who like to be on their own, they're connected to themselves. Okay. And so they're comfortable, and yet if they want to, they can still go to other people, still can meet other people, but that's because they want to.
Yeah.
But many of us, feel that because we're not connected, we don't. And the reason why we're not connected is because we don't like to be on our own. So we have never felt this need. What is this feeling telling us? So because we always try to avoid it. Okay, and so that's why. And the other thing is, we don't want to admit to people that we are lonely, because there is a stigma attached to it, right? Because they say that if you're lonely, that means you can't find friends, you don't have people around you, that there is some kind of a mental health issue.
Yeah.
But that's not the case, right? Because it's just that when you're trying before COVID, it used to be called the loneliness used to be called hidden crisis. Okay, because people didn't want to talk about it. People didn't say anything about it. But apparently, what has happened now with COVID is that many people are saying that they're lonely, and so the loneliness has not increased as such, but there are more people saying it now because they're at home, they're not busy, and their social connections are kind of disconnected in a way, right? Because they can't meet other people, so they feel loneliness. And so many people say that just because it is it's COVID that the rates have increased, but it's not. We have always been lonely for centuries. It's not something new. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Aziz bhai, let me ask you this, because you hear sometimes people say, oh, like this person, he or she is very shy. We hear that,
Yes.
So
Yes.
they're very shy. So are they lonely? That's why they're shy, or they're just shy because they don't wanna interact with someone?
So when they are shy, it's because they don't want to interact with people.
Yeah.
Okay? And so what they feel is they're lonely because they can't go out because of their shyness.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's something to do with themselves.
Yeah.
But But if you, and I'll show you just now very quickly that
Yeah.
how you can connect with yourself very, very fast. Actually,
Yeah.
it's not nothing difficult, but you have to be comfortable on your own to be able to stay with yourselves.
Okay.
So you have any questions before I go on?
No, go ahead.
No, this was my question. Thank you.
No worries. You can keep asking questions.
Okay, great.
And the thing with loneliness is that it's really, I mean, people do it does affect people. Okay, and it causes a lot of problems. It causes a lot of it increases the risk of death by 25%. Shortens our life by 15 years. Then it creates stress. Now with stress, we know that it creates emotional as well as physical issues. Emotionals are, we feel depressed, we feel sad, we feel unhappy, we feel anxious, and of course the physical aspects are, for example, high blood pressure, heart problems, and all that. So those are the effect of it. Okay, and so in fact it has become such a major problem that some countries, for example, in UK, they have appointed a minister of loneliness.
Oh.
Yeah, and so
that's amazing.
Yeah, and the purpose is that because what they feel that. See, the other thing that they also say is that as we get older, we are more lonely. But that's not the case. We are lonely. Even younger people are lonely.
Yeah.
And 17, 18-year-old people who say that they are lonely. But what England has done or UK has done is that they have this minister who is responsible to connect with the physicians, the doctors, the social workers, and try and keep the elders more active. So, for example, if someone elderly patient goes to a doctor, the doctor won't only just recommend a prescription or a drug. He or she will also prescribe a social activity, maybe do dancing, maybe do this thing, maybe do that thing, so that keeps us busy as well. Okay, so that's the effect, but that's what even some governments are doing. And the other thing is that the pharmaceutical industry is what it does is it creates all these tablets and pills for our anxiety, which, I mean, the loneliness causes all the stress and anxiety. So they've developed these pills. But what they're also developing now is a pill for loneliness.
Oh.
Okay.
So what that means, if you feel lonely, then just take the pill and then you won't feel lonely anymore. Because it's going to affect the brain, the part of the brain which creates this feeling.
Oh, that's nice to know.
Yeah. So the problem with that is, you see, that loneliness is trying to tell us something. It is saying that we are not connected with ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you take a pill, then you forget to connect with yourselves. Then you kind of lead a very superficial life.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, I mean, loneliness is there to kind of tell us that there is something missing in our lives.
Right.
Yeah. And so what can we do? What is the solution for loneliness? Okay? And if you are okay with it, I'll just demonstrate to you. If you can maybe just 2 minutes, if you can either close your eyes or you can just lower your eyes if you're not comfortable.
Yeah.
And just
we do it right now?
Yeah, just right now, so that all the listeners can do that as well.
Okay.
Okay. And just close your eyes and just pay attention to your breath. Okay. And just notice the air, the breath going in and out. Okay. Now go a bit deeper. Take deeper breaths. Do it a couple of times. And go even deeper. So all of a sudden, you're feeling calm and you come to a quiet space. Okay? So that's a space that I'm talking about, that we have to connect to. Is that simple? Okay?
Wow.
So it's just be conscious and you can reach that space. Now, the problem is that we can't maintain this space.
Yeah.
Okay? And so there are other things that we can do. And the reason why we can't maintain is that because of the mind chatter that we have.
Yeah.
And the mind chatter makes us anxious, makes us worried. And so it's so what it does is that, so the mind chatter, the way it works, it's that the mind goes from the past to the future, from the memories and to the expectations to see what's going to happen in the future. Now, and so what happens, we worry about the past guilts, regrets, and we worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. Now, no one knows what's going to happen tomorrow, right? And but we want to know, and so we worry about it. So the mind chatter, you have to try to slow it down. Okay? So I'm not sure how much time we have, but I can give you a couple of more techniques.
No, we have 20 minutes.
Yeah, we have.
We have some time, right?
Yeah.
Yes, right, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe what I can do is maybe help the listeners to be able to maintain this state. We can do three things because we have some time. Okay. So the first thing is how to overcome or how to go beyond the mind chatter. Okay, because if you go beyond the mind chatter, then you come to a quiet space in which there is no loneliness, there is no stress, there is no fear. And how do you do that? So just think of the mind chatter as the waves in the ocean. So when you go swimming in the ocean, if you try and swim through the waves, it's going to be difficult because you need a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And the waves are going to take you to places that you may not want to go.
Right.
Same thing with our mind chatter, that the mind chatter takes us all over the place, all over the world.
Yeah.
Okay, except from what it's supposed to be doing. Now, what happens if you take a couple of deep breaths and just dive under the waves?
Okay.
It's all quiet there.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So you can swim, you can do what you want. And it's the same way with our mind chatter.
Okay.
You take a few conscious breaths, just like we did just earlier, then you sink below the mind chatter.
Okay.
Okay, where it is quiet. Okay, and where it's calm. So if you can stay there, then you can do your whatever work you're doing. You'll do it without being stressed, without being lonely, without any fear.
So how to achieve that?
Yeah. So just again by taking a few conscious breaths, you calm down, go deeper, and so you are sinking below the mind chatter. The mind chatter is on the surface. So just think of it as if you take a few breaths and you just go below the mind chatter. So the mind chatter is still up there. It's not bothering you anymore, but your mind is now calm and it's alert.
So how long can you stay in that state when you're starting in the beginning? Because it's difficult to do that when you're starting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and this is and this takes practice. And so what I'm showing you is three different things that they can start implementing on a daily basis, and then over time you'll be able to do it.
Okay.
And so that's the first part, is how to go beyond the mind chatter. Okay. The second thing is to remind you that to take conscious breaths is something that I found very useful, is the word stop. STOP.
Okay.
So anytime during the day, just stop what you're doing for a moment or two. The S is for stop, okay?
Okay.
T is for take a few breaths.
Okay.
Okay? So now you have stopped, now you're taking a few breaths, okay? So you're again sinking down to that calm place. Okay? And then O is to observe what's happening now in your mind, in your body.
Okay.
And then P is to proceed.
Okay.
To keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
So you see what it does. It helps you it reminds you to take a few deep breaths for whatever you're doing. Whatever. So for example, if you are in discussion with someone and you're getting upset, just stop. Take a few breaths and you calm down. Just observe how you're feeling and then go on. So instead of reacting, now you're responding to the person.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something kind of to jumpstart you on an everyday basis, that so that you can remember how to take a few conscious breaths. Okay. And the third thing that we can talk about is, from neuroscience, says that our brain is like a Velcro and Teflon.
Velcro
and Teflon.
Teflon. Okay.
It's
Okay.
Velcro for negative thoughts, negative news, negative stuff, and it's Teflon for positive stuff.
Okay.
So the negative stuff sticks with us.
Yes.
And the positive stuff that we experience, joy and everything else, it just bounces off and we forget about it.
Right.
Right? And so all that happens in our mind is just negative stuff.
Right. You're so right.
Negative thoughts. Right? And then we worry about it. So what you can do is switch them around.
Okay.
Make Velcro for positive and happy thoughts, and Teflon for all the negative thoughts that are coming your way. They just bounce off.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not easy. It takes time, but what's going to happen, that over time you're going to so sometimes, for example, let me give you an example. Sometimes you're just happy for no reason, or you're watching a beautiful sunset, and you feel great. But pretty soon our mind says, you got to go home, you are busy, you got to do work, you got to do this, and you forget this positive experience.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? I mean, that's the way it works.
Yeah.
But if you stay with experience, enjoy that experience, and see how it feels, over time you're going to get more experiences like that. Okay. And those are the things. So, for example, when you are reacting to someone, or responding to someone, or even trying to focus on something, which mindset is better? The stressed, upset, anxious, worried mind, or a calm and alert and joyful mind?
Definitely the second one. Yeah.
Yes, because then you learn more, you can absorb more, you can respond to people, and so you're not responding from fear, anger, and everything else. Now then you react.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So these are the three things. If you can keep practicing, and over time it will kind of connect you to your center. It will ground you. And then once you start becoming grounded, you will never feel lonely or bored.
Right.
But if you want to be with people, you will enjoy their company. You will go out. You will go out and meet them. Right?
Yeah.
So that's how this thing about loneliness would work.
Yeah. But everybody doesn't. They continue practicing, but then they find that it's not really helping, and then they leave the practice in the middle, and then they think, oh, it's not working, because human beings are very impatient people. We don't like to continue doing things and thinking why it's not helping me. So what do we do about that?
No, so see it, and you're right. It's absolutely right. I mean, we all go through that. I mean, I've gone through it. When I started doing all these things, I started and I gave up. I started and I gave up, and it just wasn't taking me anywhere. But the good news is that if you keep at it, if you know, for example, that it does some good for you, even being mindful, because when you are mindful, when you are conscious and the mind is calm, then people around you will feel it.
Yeah, right.
For example, if you're right now working with Jalal, so if you walk into Jalal's office and he's upset, you will feel it.
Yeah.
You will know exactly, even without him saying anything, you will feel that upset.
Yeah.
But if you walk in his office and he's happy and joyful, you're going to feel that. Right? So this is how we affect people around us.
Right.
So to answer your question, is it does take time.
Yeah.
It does take commitment, and we have to follow. We have to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
nowadays, because of the pandemic, like so you hear it's always in the news or always on the social media. Please call your friends, please
yeah,
call your parents, your grandparents, because of
Yes.
pandemic. Call
Yes.
them just to make them feel good. Okay, you are here. You
Yes.
cannot go and meet them, but at least you can contact them.
Yes.
So or of course, sometimes they say music to listen music is the cure for this kind of things as well.
Sure.
So do you prefer that those are things still valid to go when someone feeling loneliness, so just turn on the music, just to be
Yeah.
relaxed a little bit?
Yeah. So again, I mean, we all do that, and I've done it as well. But the only thing is that when you do that, you're still avoiding to being
Yes.
on your own,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
because it doesn't
Very
matter.
true.
And even the music, I mean, music, it's really soothes my soul as well.
yeah,
But but if you use it as a something to hold on, then you're not understanding yourself. You're not, because
Yeah.
the whole point is to understand yourself,
Yeah. True.
right?
Very true.
And
Yes.
once
Yes.
you are
Yes.
grounded, once you are connected to yourself, then
yeah,
then you enjoy the music, because music, in fact, will make that state even better.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
True.
right.
True.
Yeah, yeah. So I just had a question
Sure.
for so many people. Like you have a degree in your engineering and
Yeah.
also in your business management.
Yes.
So lots of people are changing professions now and all that. So how can somebody like how did you use your previous education into your new venture you started?
So what happened in my case is that I was going through some major challenges in my life.
Okay.
I had a business failure,
Okay.
and a financial flame out, as we call it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at a low point in my life at that time, of quite a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And as you probably know as well, is sometimes when you're at that low point, all of a sudden, all the things that have gone wrong with your life come streaming in, telling you that your life is not evolving the way you want, the way you dreamt of it.
Yeah.
And so I had gone through all these challenges, and so I had reached a point where I said that I need to do something about myself. I need to figure out how to move forward.
Okay.
And so I started on the personal journey that I write about in the book as well. And it took me through a lot of different ways of. I mean, I picked up different things. I read different things, and slowly I got into meditation. I got into dream yoga. I did a lot of research because when I talk to people about this state of mind, the first question comes to mind is saying that this state doesn't exist. I mean, it's not possible to have this state. You can have it for a little while, but not on a continuous basis.
Yeah.
And so what I also did was I did a lot of research. I mean, it took me 7 years to write the book.
Wow.
Wow.
I did a lot of research. A lot of and my findings are based on all the research I did and I studied. So everything that I talk about, my experience is based on the research as well. So now going back to the point of how, and so automatically I changed from engineering, business, everything else into completely a new field, because that was my journey.
Yeah.
And so people's journeys are similar. Many people sometimes they have done certain things in life because that's what people said that you should be. I mean, I was told that I had to be an engineer because engineering was good, or that you had to be a doctor, but I never wanted to be a doctor. I never wanted to be an engineer.
That's right.
But then a time comes sometimes that it's within you there is this feeling that I need to change. I need to do something that I really want to.
Yeah.
And that thing, you should just grab it and just go for it, and things can happen.
Good. That's good. Yeah. We can keep on talking to you for so many hours. I can talk to you, but the thing is that we have this limited time. Maybe Jalal, we should have him again.
Yeah. You know what? We're gonna do the whole 1 hour with you.
I would interested
Yeah.
to
No,
talk
yeah.
more about the book, and I'm inshallah will get it and try to read it also before we get you, because what people are going through right now, there are lots of people having mental problems and loneliness problems and all that. So talking to you, and I hope a lot of viewers will join us and learn what you are talking about, the yoga, the meditation and all these things. And I think it's going to, whoever can get to it will really help them. So
Yeah.
inshallah we'll Jalal get him again.
Yeah. You know, Aziz bhai, you know, like, you know, hopefully, like after Navroz, we'll make it happen again.
Yeah, we'll make
Absolutely.
it.
And
I'd love to be.
we'll go for hour and a half or whatever. If we
Yeah,
have, but we
hour
have,
would be really great.
and,
Yeah.
and you know what, you know, like, you know, I'll be very honest, you know, just like you just got me by surprise. It's interesting. Seriously, I was enjoying
Very
too.
interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
So, you know, Aziz bhai, before we let you go, what's your book name, or your, like, you know, the one you
Yeah.
wrote?
Yeah, the book is called Calm Brain, Powerful Mind.
Uh-huh.
Abolish. I have a copy somewhere up here. Abolish stress to
Okay.
unleash your potential. So this is the book up here.
Oh,
Oh.
nice book.
Okay,
Yeah.
Calm Brain, Powerful Mind.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and it's and it's available on Amazon.
Amazon. Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's nice
But-
to.
No,
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's a good start, because a lot of people are commenting as well, and about this very, very interesting topic. And of
Very-
course, you know, we'll talk about the loneliness as well as the mind, like the mental health as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how can we? Yeah, I think it'll be nice. You know, everything together, it'll be nice. Like very interesting altogether. So,
Yeah,
Aziz bhai, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Sorry,
Really
you know, I would have known.
Yeah.
You know, we would have done longer time today, but inshallah.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me.
really enjoyed it. Really nice to meet you virtually. And
Thank you.
hopefully we'll be talking more. And I've got tons and tons of questions for you. I
Please.
have a medical background. I'm a medical doctor.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I have got lots of questions, and so it will be very interesting talk to have lots of question answers. And
Sure.
we will get you again, and we'll give you the full hour for our show.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. And
Thank you so
I
much.
apologize
Good luck
for
with
the.
what you are doing, and with your more writing and teaching, and keep up the good work. And people like you we need, especially at this time of loneliness. Lots of
Sure.
people are going through.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and my apologies for the PowerPoint. It just didn't work
No,
out. But no.
No, that's okay. And you know, just to let our viewers know, you know, Aziz bhai, he's done some seminars for the Smiley TV as well, and on our Zoom meetings as well with our senior, like, you know, our community members. So he's a professional, and I think it's going to be awesome again to have you. And we'll do it again, like, you know, inshallah,
Thank
hour
you
to hour, like hour and a half.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Jalal and Salma. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much, Aziz bhai. Thank you, Ali Madad.
Thank you, Mullah Madad.
that
Wow.
was so good, huh, Jalal?
Yes.
People will learn so much, and they can even ask questions and send questions for him.
Yeah,
So
you know what?
Good.
Inshallah,
Yeah.
next time we'll do bigger and a better advertising as well. So, you know, we're gonna have Aziz bhai back again.
It was so
Yeah.
good. I had so many questions for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
let's-
now we're gonna like change the gear a little bit. Now we'll talk about Calgary Flames from the NHL National Hockey League team in Calgary. And of course, as you know, season started as of January 14th or 15th. So our good friend Kelly Kirch from the Fan 960 Sportsnet and the 660 News. He's the big boss of 660 News. Actually, he's a news director. There we go. Hello. Kelly.
How are
How are
you?
How are you? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you guys.
Hello, how are you doing?
Well, you know, today I'm actually back at the station in my office just because I had some stuff to do. So I thought, what a better time to kind of make sure I had a nice strong internet connection for you guys, and here we are. And your last guest you had on before me, maybe we could get a whole bunch of those books for the Flames, and we could just drop them off in their dressing room, and they can maybe just have a bit of a read on their next road trip, and maybe we can get some more results. That's just an idea.
Okay, Kelly, maybe you want to look down a little bit so then we have eye contact.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Better, yeah.
Yeah.
There you are. Good for you.
Okay.
Now tell us
Okay.
what's
First of all, did you miss us at all?
I thought about you all the time, but I see you guys on Facebook, so
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
we're
not like
popular.
it's not like you're very far away. You guys are a lot busier than I am. That's for sure.
So
Yeah.
you're well? You're keeping well and healthy?
Oh yeah, everyone's healthy, so that's good. It's I can't believe it's going to be, basically a year of doing this.
Yeah,
Yes.
But and it looks like we see a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel.
we do.
Which is good news. So I think we just got to be a little more patient, and any little sign that spring is here and we get some snow melting or whatever feels really good. So
Yeah, it does.
yeah, so that's good. And the one question that people asked me a lot was, what do you do on a sports station when there's no sports?
That's right. Yeah.
That is a really good question, and it wasn't easy. So there was that. So, and then sports came back, and then it went away. Now it's back. So, yeah. So it's one of those things we're just adjusting on the fly here, and just taking each day at a time. Essentially, I know that
Yeah.
sounds like a cliche, but I think we all have to do that, basically, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how
That's
does
right,
it
yeah.
feel not to have these live shows and like so much virtual things are happening in the sports world? So how does it feel and how do you manage that?
It's strange.
Uh-huh.
But it's weird how you can how you adjust to things,
Mhm.
and like, for instance, something that as mundane as ordering takeout food is like a big deal at
Yeah.
the old
Yeah.
Kirsch
Yeah.
household. Like, it's exciting. Like, what what are we gonna do? We went out to wife and I went out to Banff on the weekend, and that's we haven't gone on a trip since the summertime, but
Yeah.
we made it into a real holiday. So it's amazing how the human spirit can really accomplish this. And I'll tell you, the guys have been great on the air. It's different, calling a game with no people in the stands, or
Yes.
the road games are different because we have to call them off video, which is a little strange, but
Yes.
you know, but we're adjusting to it. Like, we kind of have to, right? We don't have much of a choice. So,
Mhm.
but we're just thankful that our company's been so great to everybody, and
Yeah.
hung in there with us, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So far so good. And now we can just worry about kind of those mundane things, like how the team is doing and that sort of thing. That's super important to a lot of people, but we also have to
That's right.
keep it in perspective, right? So
Yeah,
That's
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I think I told you and Salma like about a year ago, we should have bought some shares with the Zoom, the
oh
Zoom.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Zoom's doing well. Yeah.
And Netflix, especially Netflix.
Oh,
because they just announced yesterday they had a like $7 billion profit. I told you
oh.
guys buy some shares, but you guys never replied.
No, we never did it. And the other thing is, I like people like Cargo Jet and some of those companies have been flying. Like, they've just done so well. The
Yeah,
Amazons of the world, and then on the other side of that, there's some companies that have just absolutely been devastated. So it's so have and have not. It's crazy, right?
yeah,
But it's just one of those things. But you know what? I think people are pretty tough, and we'll hang in there. And and I mean, I know, as you guys know, frontline workers, hospital workers, doctors, nurses, and people like that, they have been working like crazy. They have a stressful
yeah,
job to begin with, and then
yeah.
add this on top of it. It's been amazing. So you can't say enough good things about them. You can't pay them
Yeah,
enough
yeah,
money, right? So
yeah, that's right. So, Kelly, let's start with our topic today. And I think it's going to be $1 million question. Everyone is asking, what's wrong with Flame this year?
yeah, everybody's been asking that. What's wrong with
Yeah,
the Flames? And it's one of those old things, like the old adage, like, if it was anybody new, they would just do it. I think it's a combination of things. Honestly, I think there's been some underachieving players. I think there's been some sporadic play. I think there's been some just plain ordinary bad luck in some ways.
yeah,
There's also been some underachievement, and
yes,
but having said all that, they're still kind of in the fight. So it's not like they're out just yet.
yeah,
They absolutely have to have a good March here.
yeah,
They have to play well above the 500 mark.
500, yeah.
Yeah, because it's not going to, fifth place doesn't get you anything either to sixth, so they're going to have to get going. It's been such a strange year, obviously, with the COVID and the stoppage, and then they started again and played in the bubble, which was interesting, and they had a great series against Winnipeg, and probably if things go a little differently, they could easily have won that series against Dallas, but they didn't, and they looked horrible in Game 6. And then it was time to regroup, and they had such a great offseason with signing Chris Tanev and Jacob Markstrom. So 2 big holes they filled. It's like, okay, here we go. But it's a team game, and so far they haven't got the results. The weird thing is, it would be one thing if they just didn't have the talent and just couldn't compete. I think Flames fans could understand that. Like, okay, it's just they just don't have the horses, but they've proven that they can play against the best in the league and play very well. And then they can play really poorly too, and that's what's frustrating, I think, for fans, and that's what we're seeing on our text line and the call-in shows and all those sorts of programs that we run, is that people are upset because I guess obviously people wanted to have the Flames as a really enjoyable kind of pastime to make the days and the nights go by a little quicker and get into it while you're kind of stuck at home. But after all is said and done, it is a professional sport, and the teams they're playing they want to win too, and but they've just looked kind of really bad in some of the games in the past 15, 16 days. So that's kind of the concerning part, honestly, guys. Like, it's just like, how do you even rationalize a team that was so good and on the power play, now they're not, and now their power play looks like they're going to get scored on the other way. Like, some of those things are fixable, some of those things are maybe systemic, but I think people really they want to see a little promise, and at least put a bit of an effort. Now, the good news is they got 13 of 20 games at home at the Saddle Dome. Not that home ice advantage makes a huge difference, but if you're not traveling and you're home instead of being trapped in a hotel, I think that might help a little bit on the mindset of things. But although every team is taking the same thing, it's not like anybody doesn't get road games or anything like that. So so I mean, it's one of those things that I think people just, I'm not sure what we have here, which is it's strange to be saying that kind of 25-30% through the season, but I'm not sure what exactly is going on with this team, and I think that's what's frustrating the guys on the ice and the management staff too.
Maybe they are feeling just a little demotivated, that seeing the crowds not cheering them and all that. I mean, maybe some players, they thrive on that.
I think there's a mindset piece to it. I don't think that's as, people say, well, every team has to do it, but I think people adjust to it in different ways, and it's hard to know how these guys are going to do it. I mean, the whole thing about being a team and camaraderie is you go on the road, you hang out together, you go out to dinner together, you experience the city you're in, and basically they're, the closest thing to being prisoners is because they can't meet anybody, they can't really go out or do anything. Like, they have to really watch that stuff, and the rules are pretty stringent in Canada, and so but that's why you're going to have to, it's a mental piece, and it's also just kind of a preparation piece that they've got to get figured out.
And okay, like Kelly, the one we have a core team members, especially Gio, Shanahan, then
Johnny Gaudreau and
Gaudreau. So Backlund, they've been with kind of as a core team members for the last 3-4 years, and I think they are very they are not consistent at all for the last 3-4 years. So do you think is there any problem in the core, the one we have right now?
I think teams evolve, and I think teams, if we think that it's going to be like a straight line where they're just going to get better all the time, it doesn't do that. Some players are up and down. There's some players that get injured. I think if you can't just say the core and just kind of group them into one big lot. I think you have to look at, Mark Giordano is 37 years old, and Father Time is undefeated for everybody. Like, he always wins, and it doesn't matter how well you're in shape or how good your genetics are. When you're in a super competitive sort of thing like NHL hockey, it's going to catch up to you. And you know, is he still a very good defenseman? Yes. Maybe does he need to be used differently a little bit? Yes. You know, do I think his career's over? Absolutely not. Sean Monahan, you know, he's scored one even strength goal this year. That's not enough. That's not enough.
Oh,
And you know, Elias Lindholm is part of the new core. Michael Backlund's been injured, and he's been, you know, not playing very well. I mean, Matthew Tkachuk has been inconsistent. We're not
that's right. Yeah.
we're used to him seeing, you know, being really an agitator. And
Yeah.
you know, there's a guy that probably feeds off the crowd more than we probably know. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing with that. So the core, and let's make no mistakes here. I mean, no one, you're not going to trade your way out of this and all of a sudden poof,
No.
there's going to be 5 new players that are going to turn around your team and all of a sudden be fantastic. That is, the fail rate on that's really, really high. So I think fans want to just rush to solution on that, but I would really pump the brakes a little bit. And I think you might see some tweaks now when Sam Bennett's agent, you know,
Yes.
gets somebody on national television to say that he wants out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't know if you know, that kind of squeaky wheel should get any grease, because then it's like, well, what are we going to get for you, buddy? Like, that's a problem too. So so there's some things, but I also know they're professionals. They've won at every level, all those guys, and they need to it has to come from that room, and they have to be able to overcome adversity, because that's hockey, right? People, there's things that'll happen in hockey, right? It just, a game is fluid, and there's some bad things and some good things, but you can't just all of a sudden fold your tent when something bad happens, because it's going to invariably, and then you just have to kind of really react to it. And I just don't know if I've seen enough of the toughness, the mental toughness that you're going to need so far. But you know, they've got some key games coming up here. They'll get another shot at Ottawa twice. They've got to take on their arch rivals Edmonton after they ran them out of the rink up in Edmonton a while ago. So they've got to, you know, get going. Montreal a few more times. Montreal fired their coach, so you know, they're right for picking. And I think they got Toronto again. So March is going to be interesting for sure. Very interesting.
I think it's going to be break. I think it's going to break. Like, you know, if they're going to in or out, I think you'll know in March if they're going to be in for the playoffs.
I think so. And you'll know just by the style of play. You know, it's going to help to get their goalie back. It's going to help to get back home. But I think everybody thought these games against Ottawa would show that they could, you know, make some hay, because everybody else has sort of had target practice against them. Not so fast as Ottawa's starting to get it together a little bit, playing really loose.
Yeah, that's right.
But to look pretty bad in 2 games is pretty tough. So, but if you can change that narrative by the time next Monday rolls around, and you've played 2 against Ottawa and 1 against Edmonton, if you go 2 of 3 or get 2 wins and a shootout loss or something. That'll go a long way to saying, okay, maybe not all lost. Now, and also the opposite is true. If you play horrible against Ottawa twice and Edmonton rolls you out, then you know, you're probably looking at some major changes. I don't know what they can do, or if they even want to do it, but
So, you know, because I was listening, like, you know, over time, like, you know, for the last week or 2 continuously, and so, and especially Robert and George, you know, they are saying that they should blow up. They should blow up and start from scratch again. But I think the ownership, they don't want to do it, because, you know, that's what they sign 1 or 2 big shot, you know, big player, like, you know, kind of an off season. So do you think blow up is the way to go, or what do you think? Like, in your opinion?
People always say blow up, but be careful what you wish for, because that means you're going to trade all your hardcore players and you're going to get a bunch of draft picks. Well, you're 4 years away from being even anywhere near anything. And you know, I do think somewhere in the back rooms of the Saddle Dome, they know they're going into a new building in, you know what, 3.5 years or whatever. They want to have a team that's really competitive by the time they get to there. And you know, I mean, they got to make some decisions on some of these guys. You know, we have an expansion draft coming. They're going to lose some players to Seattle no matter what. You've got some people with contract situations, Johnny Gaudreau, for instance. You know, can you sign him to a long-term deal? Will he sign here, or will he not sign here? What's the plan, or or who knows? And some of the other players they've got long term, they've got to decide what they want to do. But I don't think blowing it up and trading all your good players and get a bunch of draft picks and prospects is going to cut it in Calgary. Maybe it should. You saw Toronto do it, and look where they are. But Toronto was god awful for quite a while. But they finally sucked it up and got some. You know, they also won a lottery too, so they got Austin Matthews. But they've drafted really well and developed really well too. So there is that. Although they've won 0 as well, they're still struggling to win a playoff race, so they haven't won anything just yet. So a little different when you get to play the Canadian teams all the time. So I personally don't think blowing it up is good. Do you need to change some core pieces of your forward group? Absolutely. What does that look like? I'm not sure, but you're going to have to do something, and it might be time to. No, problem is the draft. They're talking about maybe the draft isn't going to be around this summer because those young guys haven't even played. So it might get delayed for a year. So I'm not even sure if the draft's going to help you right away. So I don't know. I think people want big changes and stuff, and it's pretty easy when you're a fan. But when you own the team and this is your livelihood, so those are a little different decisions you have to make. So.
Definitely.
Okay, a couple of our community members, so they want to come and ask the question for you because they are hardcore Flames fans. So I'm going to add one after one, couple of them. So let me get to Tamiz. You saw him last time. Hey, Tamiz, how are you?
There he is.
How you
looking good, fella?
How you doing, brother?
We're good. What's going on?
Oh, not too much, man. Not too much. Awesome to get a chance to get on here and talk to you guys again. I think it was a year ago that we were able to talk about Flames and whatnot. And I'm astonished, really, how wildly inconsistent our team has been. I think, I agree, blowing up the team, I don't think is the answer, where we've spent a lot of money acquiring, finally, our go-to goaltender, which we seem to be reluctant to get for the last 10 years since Kipper left.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, getting someone like Chris Tanev, I think it has been vital for the development of defensemen like Anderson and Valimaki. So I see that being a great fit. But I think for me, two things, Kelly, is one we touched on just now is the Sam Bennett situation where his agent came out and said what he did. And the second thing is I just don't feel, from my standpoint, that Jeff Ward is the right coach for this team going forward. And why I say that is he's been an assistant coach before. He didn't get any ringing endorsements from other teams to be a head coach. We kind of had to put him in there because of the situation that arose with Bill Peters. And he did a remarkable job and should be commended for kind of being the glue to put everything together and take that distraction away. But I just feel that perhaps the team has lost its way with him, or vice versa, because the team is so wildly inconsistent. And I just don't see, apart from maybe a couple of players, especially Milan Lucic after the last game, who has, come out and said, this is on the group of guys. But I've heard this now for the last 20 days or so, that it's on us. It's not the coach. Well, I don't know how you can keep saying that over and over and over again, and nothing happens. It's like the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Just saying different things. They've put the lines through blenders. Nothing has happened. Riddick went in against Toronto. I mean, just look at the last 10 days, how they've gone from being blown out from Edmonton, how they played against Toronto, which was commendable.
Yeah.
And then it's not even that you lost to Ottawa. It's the way that you've been losing to them. There's no consistency in their game at all. And I just don't know. Is it the voice coming from the coaching staff? If you can't blow up the team, which doesn't make sense because you've invested so much to bring in all these key pieces, then isn't it time to look at the messaging coming from the coaching staff and saying, do we bring in somebody like a Bruce Boudreau who has been around, who has given the results? Or do you let this whole season kind of just wash itself out and then maybe you look at it in the offseason?
Well, I think there's a few things. You mentioned Sam Bennett. Like I find it strange that if you want out and you've made it public that you don't want to play there anymore, I wouldn't be suiting him up. And I don't know if they were showboating him or whatever, or showcasing him. But Sam certainly hasn't done, maybe some flashes here and there, but he certainly hasn't upped his trade value. As for the coach, I think that's one of those things where they were impressed with what they saw. The guys, played for him last year, so therefore, okay, let's do it again. Now, does he have the experience? He's won a Stanley Cup as an assistant. Not the same thing as running your own bench. But when you look at the past 20 years and the coaches that have come and gone, and once those coaches leave, we had it on our morning show earlier today. The list is long. Bill Peters is in Russia. Mike Keenan went to Russia. Jim Playfair is an assistant. So is Glenn Gulletson. Daryl Sutter was a general manager, and he went and coached LA and won 2 Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
But everybody else has been. So it's like, I don't know what you do. Like you've tried different things. Do you bring? They didn't like Bill Peters because he was a taskmaster. They brought Jeff Ward in because he was a good play, kind of players coach guy. Now, has he lost the room? I don't know. I think that there's only so much you can do. These guys are professionals, and after like what? I mean, like, don't turn the puck over in your own zone. Like they teach you that in like when you're like 12 years old. Don't do that. That's the same sort of rule, right? So I don't know. I mean, to make a big splash and I don't think they're gonna like. What's the difference? There's no big pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. They're not going to have a filled Saddle Dome for 4, 5, 6 games. Making all kinds of money off concessions and tickets and merchandise and stuff. They won't be able to do that this year to obviously with no fans in the stands. So even if they did make the playoffs, it's not that sort of thing. I can see them just saying, you know what, this is our group. We're not going to do everything. And then ownership and upper management have a good look at it at the end of the season. Okay, what do we got here? But I don't think they should fire the coach. I think, they've got this is the guy they wanted. Was it the general manager, the ownership, who wanted Jeff? But regardless, that's the decision. And once you make a decision as a group, you go with it, and you live by it, and you die by it. And and that's as simple as that. So I would not fire Jeff Ward. I think you got to give him a little more rope than that. And I think the guys, they're all professionals, and they're got to dig in a little bit. As simple as that. They're not out of it yet. They put together a good 2 weeks. They'll be right back in a playoff spot. But if they keep playing this horrible, then it's going to be a tough March for people to watch this team kind of just fall apart. And I don't mind if you barely make the playoffs, because anything can happen in this crazy game. So I'm not even too worried about that. Anyway, so that's to a kind of a long answer. I wouldn't be firing Jeff Ward or his coaching staff. You can reevaluate it at the end of the year, but I wouldn't be doing something haphazard. Do you kind of swing for the fences and see if Daryl Sutter wants to come in and rescue the team and coach one more time? At his age and his experience, what's really left for him to do? I don't know if that's even something he'd want to do, or if it would even work. But I think it's a little bit of everything. I think guys got to start listening to the coach and executing the game plan and figure things out, because the power play has worked in the past. The penalty kill has worked in the past. The breakouts are getting a little predictable, so I think they got to work on that a little bit and come up with some new stuff. And whether this guy's on this line or this guy sits or whatever, almost doesn't matter. You got your core players that just have to play better. If those guys don't play better, it doesn't matter what the peripheral guys do.
Yeah. And because if you remember, there was a players only meeting early in the season. And I think it was after a Montreal game or something. So I think they were okay for a game or two. So then, of course, same thing happened again. So, do you think is there any problem between Mona and Shauna? Moni, Goodrow, or then, Kachak, or, Corte?
Yeah.
Is there any maybe ego in between somewhere.
Well, I hope there's ego. I mean, there better be. They're highly paid athletes that are in a very competitive world, so I don't worry about ego. But there are, hockey is such a team sport, so and the good teams always. We had Rhett Warner kind of say this on our morning show. It's like you may not hang out together, you may not be buddies together, but you got to play for each other and care for each other on
Yes.
the ice, and
Yeah.
that's that simple. And I don't really care if they get along,
Yeah,
off
yeah.
the ice or buddies or hang out at each other's houses. That's irrelevant. They've got work to do. There's, people that, work with me that we're not friends, but we're in business together and we have
Yeah.
a common goal. So I think it's the same
True.
thing when it comes to hockey, and
Uh,
more so because the stakes are higher.
yeah, true, yeah. Okay, so Salma Jadavji had to leave, because she had to be somewhere. So our another good friend wants to ask you a question as well. Zishan, hello Zishan, how are you?
Hello, everyone. Thank
Hey,
you
Z.
for having me on the show. I'm doing good. Hope you guys are doing good and keeping safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Your
bet.
head looks good.
There you go. Flames fan.
Attaboy.
But
Attaboy.
again, like every fan, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, we kept joking about it. If it was an easy answer or just right there on the shelf at Safeway, we'd pull it down and put it in our cart and say, "There's the answer." But
I
it's just
wish
not
there
that
was.
simple. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's frustrating because if it was one thing that you say, oh, okay, well, the goalie isn't any good. Well, the goalie's been pretty good. Or, sometimes, the special teams has been great. Sometimes it hasn't been great. Sometimes they've responded. Sometimes they have emotion. Sometimes they have too much emotion. But I think the one thing that I've noticed is when things go wrong, they spiral and they just snowball and everything goes wrong. It's oh my God. So it's one of those things where you kind of go, why can't they just, pull this together a little bit? It's frustrating, but so that's the part. And as I said, they've got time to turn it around. I mean, these games coming up against the two against Ottawa and up in Edmonton on Saturday night, they're massive. They're absolutely massive, and they can go a long way to turn it around, or just show start the games on time. Don't get outshot 14-2.
Yes, right.
Don't dig
Yeah,
yourself
just
into
like
a hole.
Tami said, they made Ottawa look good.
Yeah.
they,
True.
they lost
Exactly.
so bad. They made
Yeah.
them look good.
And
My
Ottawa's
question, Kelly,
yeah.
would be more around, there was lots of shuffling between the lines. And again, on the radio shows and the TV, we heard this a lot that, should the Jeff Ward have kept, Johnny, Monty, Lindholm line, they had Bennett there for a little bit, and then all the distraction because of him, because of his agent. Do
Yeah.
you think that has maybe played a role?
Well, I mean, I think Sam Bennett has been super inconsistent in the regular season
Yes.
for quite a while. He's looked good at times in the playoffs, where they don't call it as strict. They let the rules go, so that's perfect. I mean, I think he takes too many penalties. You're asking me if it's a distraction. It can't not be a distraction. I think they're all professionals and they know that it's a business. I just don't know what good your agent going public is. I think you keep
exactly.
that stuff quiet. We'll try and trade you. Worst case scenario, just hang in there till May, and you're probably going to be in Seattle come next September. So just take it easy. I thought it was pretty poor strategy for Sam Bennett and his people to go public like that. I think that was not cool, and not to follow it up either. Just say, hey, I'm part of this team until I'm not part of this team. Kind of that's maybe just not the cool. Then the onus is on the management and other players and coaches to kind of defend them. And I don't think that's not teamwork. So
Yeah. Okay, so Kelly, is there any future players, kind of the big name player are coming up? Like in our draft picks, who are who's kind of in a.
Well, there's some guys like Jacob Pelche's looking good. He's one of those guys that's really showed. I mean, Adam Rajitska, who plays for the Stockton Heat, well, now the Calgary Heat, because that's where they're based. Is there some guy that's absolutely lights out, going to be the best player of all time?
Yeah.
Not really, but there's some good, solid players. There's not like a, Austin Matthews in the minors waiting to get a little older. I don't think that's the case. Connor Zeri's a ways away. Those guys have to play. The one kind of unwelcomed sort of side effect of COVID is that all these minor teams and junior teams haven't played nearly as much as they normally would. So
True.
the development of these young guys, it's going to be interesting to see, and it's kind of the same for everybody. They have not had, like the Western League would have been, probably 50 games into their season, if not 60 or so, by now. And now they're just actually, the Hitmen are just getting started on Friday, and normally that would be the last 2 weeks of the regular season. So that's interesting. I don't think there's a savior down on the farm or down in the minors that's going to turn this around anytime soon. I think it's going to be a group effort. You might get a little bit better with a trade. You might get a good draft pick here and there. And, some of those guys are going to be just fine players, but I don't think anybody's ready just yet.
Tamis?
Yeah, like that. I was just going to talk about that. And if you wanted to sit Sam Bennett down, would there be any harm in bringing up Matthew Phillips, for example, to see what does he have, or
I wonder if you do that in a couple of weeks when
where you're at. Right away, but if you have the opportunity to do that, and if you want to kind of make a statement, Sam Bennett wanted to leave. They actually put him up on the top line to showcase him. It didn't work. If he's the distraction, and only internally they can figure that out. What's the point of showcasing him and taking time away, especially on the top line, for somebody else?
Yeah.
And see what you've got, like an Adam Ruzicka coming up. I like Matthew Phillips. I think he's a terrific playmaker. What would be the harm in bringing somebody in like that he's going to bring you energy right away, maybe in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the case that you want to do, like, sometimes it's just good to let guys play in a American Hockey League situation where they're going to be the top dog. They're going to get all the important minutes. They're not going to get fourth line minutes where they play 7 or 8 minutes a night. They're going to be absolutely on the number one power play. They're going to be in the penalty kill. They're going to be in all the key situations. And the AHL is very, very good hockey. Let's not forget that. So I don't think there's a crime. Is it a kind of cool to let him have a little taste of the NHL to see what he's got to reward those guys? I think that's very cool to do that if you're in a situation where the playoffs are miles away, or in the real situations that you're home and cooled for a playoff spot. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think you can see them come up for a bit here and there. But I also think it's pretty important for those guys to get a real good. And a lot of them haven't played hockey in a while, because there was no bubble or anything from the AHL. Remember last year, so they were done in March. So they've just really started playing games just recently. So they are a little behind in what's practice is one thing. A lot of those guys will practice with the Flames, the Black Aces and stuff during the bubble and those types of situations. But I think playing as much as they can, because they still have a pretty shortened schedule. I'm all for guys spending time in the AHL.
I just wanted to quickly ask one question before I forget.
Sure.
Do you think our play as bad and inconsistent as it is, how much of that is to the fact that we're playing more of our Canadian teams in the East more? Because in the regular season, throughout all these years, we played them twice. Now all of a sudden you're playing them 9 times in some cases. Do you think the Flames have had just a really hard time adjusting to the style of play that the East teams play? Because if you look at the record against what would be the East, it's way below 500. And if you compare it to Vancouver, Winnipeg, Edmonton, I think we are above. So do you think?
I mean, I think it's a weird situation. I mean, I've never watched so much Ottawa Senators and Winnipeg Jets hockey in my life. I think that only goes so far, to be honest with you, because everybody has to do it. Montreal could say the same sort of thing. Oh, we're going to play all these Western teams. We're going to play Connor McDavid, 9 times. At the end of first part of May, everyone thinks it's going to be even, Steven. And
Yeah.
would it be better if the Flames could play the Vegas Golden Knights and Colorados and LA Kings and stuff? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, inconsistent hockey is inconsistent, but I do think there's each team has it's just human nature. Some have done better and some have done worse when it comes to adjusting to this new life, and not just playing hockey, but playing with no fans, playing in a situation where you can't do the normal team building things, playing in a situation where you don't go on normal road trips and you're kind of just stuck in your hotel. Some players are going to be better at it than others. Some it's going to drive them crazy, but really, after it's all said and done and you strip it down, you got to play better, because you're lining up against a team that's kind of gone through some of the same crap as you have. And if you're going to put a horrible effort out for a period and a half on games, most nights, I don't care where you play. I don't care if you're playing the New York Islanders or Vancouver Canucks or wherever. If you are horrible and inconsistent for more than half the game, you're going to lose most of those games. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah. Zishan, you have any question?
I actually wanted to get back to one of the comments that you made about Goudreau contract coming up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I'm a big fan. I've seen that guy flying on the ice in Saddle Dome. So, but sometimes it feels like it's about time to let him go. And he's like such a player should be playing with another team, and he should win a Stanley Cup. And we should get someone maybe of the same stature, maybe a young kid, or an established player. What do you think about that?
I think Johnny said all the right things. He's never once said he wanted to move back to the northeastern United States. He's never said that. He said he likes it here. He's getting married. His wife likes it here. I think you're probably behind closed doors having those conversations with Johnny, and through his agent, obviously, about an extension and if he wants to stay here. And you're probably getting a sense of no, it's time for a trade, because he's got a kind of a certain trade list that kicks in, I think, next year, where you're really going to be handcuffed. Do I think if he went to a different situation, would he do a lot better? Possibly, and it could go the other way too. Now, keep in mind that he is a small guy, and to win a Stanley Cup, you've got to win 4 rounds of grueling hockey. And the problem with this, he's a smaller man that if he can't dangle and keep the guys trying to chase him, but if he has to go dump and chase the puck and try and beat like a big defenseman on a forecheck, just watch the games. He's just not physically strong enough.
No.
Where he's good at is when he's whipping around and he's got the boards on the one side and the defenseman that doesn't know, what to do or wind his watch or which way he's going to go. And then he finds that trailer coming in and just, gets an amazing pass to him. And sometimes in the playoffs, they key up on you. If you get to a situation where you're like the second line guy that goes out there and creates all that, maybe that is a situation that could work, like Phil Kessel did when he moved into, different situations, after he got out of Toronto there, like maybe that's what you need. But I would not be surprised either way if they said we got him on a long-term extension, or if it's like, no, he wants to go, we got to trade him at the draft or whatever. Neither would surprise me.
Mm-hmm. Right. So just a last question, Kelly. Like as you said, next 3 games are very crucial. If they go 2-1 or 2-1, so I think we are in a good position. What if not? What do you predict?
If they get like 0 points between now and the end of the weekend, I think you'll see some. I don't think you'll see a coaching change. I would be surprised. Would I be shocked or surprised? I'm not sure what the word would be. Nothing surprises me anymore. I mean, in this business, so I think they need some time, to kind of practice, get on home ice. I would be shocked if you don't see an incredible effort against these 2 games against Ottawa and a big one against the Edmonton Oilers. But if you keep losing, you can't. Then you just have to expect some sort of change, because there almost has to be one in that situation. But I don't know if that's going to change everything or be a miracle Hail Mary that's going to change everything. I don't see that. But it's a tough business. It's a business that you get measured on results. So if you don't win, you don't get the results. So there's no beauty prize or that kind of stuff, or good effort prizes. They don't give the Stanley Cup for people who have lots of hustle or great people. Like they don't. That doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So how's the 660 news and your like pad and
well, no, I mean,
Lubo, we love them.
Yes, no, Sportsnet 960 is doing very, very well. We are busy with Flames hockey. We're excited that we get our other hockey team back. The Calgary Hitmen will play Red Deer on Friday, so that's going to be interesting for us. They'll be at Satina Nation there at Seven Chiefs Arena, so no fans there either. So that's going to be a little different. It's been great to have Rhett Warner back. He's been great in the mornings, and to have that expertise of somebody who's played over 700 games in the NHL, over 100 playoff games. He knows what he talks about, and I've really liked the addition of Corey Sarge and Matt Stajan and even Kevin Woodley, some of our new insiders that really break down hockey. We know what's important to Calgary sports fans. It's all about hockey from now till probably June or maybe past that. So
that's right.
So we're busy. I've kind of stepped away from 660. I don't do a whole bunch on 660 anymore.
Okay.
But I still love those guys. They're still in our same building here, so they're really good. And I guess I should mention that International Women's Day is coming up on Monday, and we've got some really great programming that we've kind of been thinking about and looking forward to that. So we invite everybody to tune in coming up on Monday all day long, as Sandra Bassino, who actually works at 660 News, is going to do some stuff for us. So looking forward to that. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. It was fun to kind of in touch with you again. And
absolutely.
Hopefully we are in playoffs, so we'll do it again.
Yeah, if the Flames are in the playoffs, for sure we do this again.
Yes,
guys.
we'll do it again. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Guys. Thank you so much,
Kelly. All right.
Take care, boys.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
everyone.
All right, one and only. All right, guys, तो ये थे आज का हमारा शो. Thank you so much everyone for जिन्होंने आज का ट्यून किया, वॉच किया, देखा, शेयर किया, कमेंट किया. Thank you so much. Of course, we had Aziz Velji first. We were talking about the loneliness, and we will bring him back. I can guarantee, I can promise you that. So no, inshallah, like after Nowruz, probably first week of March, like in April or something. So inshallah, we'll bring him back, and then we'll. I know, because of the future superstar, we didn't have that much time to market as well. But inshallah, next time I'll do the better job. So we'll see you inshallah on Saturday. We're gonna have a very special show on Saturday. And what is that show? So please, I'll be posting tomorrow morning. Yes, I will be posting tomorrow morning what's coming up on Saturday. So cannot wait for that, and you guys will love it. And we love to have you back again on Saturday. So until then, thank you so much everyone for commenting, sharing, liking, and please do subscribe my channel on YouTube, because this interview will be on YouTube now, and my page, Koffee Jalal page as well. So until then, thank you so much. Khuda Hafiz, Sasigal, Adab, and Ya Ali Madad.